Buddy,
Hugh, how are you, mate?
really well, mate. Welcome to episode 8 of the R.A.D Podcast, real authentic dads talking about real life shit, mate. So we're up to the episode 8, which is really awesome, and I'm here. It's always brought to you by the Mobile Barbershop Depot, who are the sponsor of the show. Real huge supporters of the show, but today I'm just interviewing a good buddy of mine. Got a long sort of history together. He's creating some massive success with the particular industry he is in. He's an enigmatic type of fellow, certainly charismatic. If you certainly follow the news on the Gold Coast or Australia-wide, you may have seen his face. It's a good buddy of mine, Campbell McCallum from MMA.
Yep, Maloney McCallum, Abdel Shahid Lawyers. Thanks for having me, Hugh.
Mate, thanks for jumping on, mate. I actually caught up with you last week, and we had a really good chat, and I'm thinking to myself, fuck, I wish we hadn't recorded that chat, because you've obviously just come from court today. Last week you seemed a little bit more relaxed, and we just spoke about we went over some shit that we went on, we covered some, stuff that we used to do back in the day.
Yes.
But today, mate, I always wanted to catch up with you because I wanted to reach out because, mate, I'm super inspired of what you built in terms of where you've been, your story. As everyone they have on this podcast, they've got this awesome, unbelievable story, right? From how they sort of started. Like, you may not think it's awesome or unbelievable, but certainly from an outsider looking in, the story and what you've created, mate, is pretty crazy and really cool. And I think for anyone that's out there listening to this podcast will certainly be drawn to that story. But in terms of that, my partner in crime, Eric, funny I mentioned partner in crime because you're a criminal lawyer, Eric Machado. He's ironically, he's actually in Canada at the moment, so he can't be here for this podcast. But so that's why I'm doing this myself. But mate, what's been happening, buddy?
Mate, again, thanks for having me. Yeah, I'm really excited. As you know, we go back a long way, back to uni days. And
Kelly's actually dating my sister.
That's a rumour. Yeah, no. Especially Zeta. Yeah, Zeta, his sister's certainly the better half of this family. But no, mate, it's great to see you. I did enjoy our chat the other day. As you saw, it was a bit of a raw insight into myself because I wasn't being recorded at the time.
Yeah.
But yeah, look, I mean, just quickly in a nutshell, I suppose my beginnings were quite humble. I was born and raised in Cairns at about the age of 10.
Yeah.
We moved to the Gold Coast when I was 11, and then I think I was identified as potentially a troubled child, so I got sent off to boarding school in Brisbane.
Potentially a troubled child.
Yeah, I used to light fires and do those sorts of things, so I got sent away to boarding school at the age of 12 and stayed there till I was 18 at Nudgee College.
Oh wow.
That's where I developed my love for rugby and academics, of course. So from there, went and played some professional rugby union and studied law, and here I am in charge of my own law firm.
Mate, but before that though, that journey from school to where you are now, so I just wanted to quickly go recap on your history because you're very good at sports, weren't you? Well, I'm talking very good. So Nudgee College, for people that don't know, so it's an all-boys school in Brisbane.
It's a prestigious rugby school, basically. Yeah.
So
it's known as the cradle of Queensland rugby.
Yeah.
So I mean, there's been plenty of internationals and state players come from there. So that's where I developed my love for that game.
Yeah.
And played quite competitively there. I made Queensland teams when I was at schools, Queensland schoolboys, Queensland 19s, 21s.
Yep.
And then it was just the start of the professional era for rugby. So I got an offer to play in Ireland, and then a further offer to play in the Heineken Cup in England. So I spent 4 or 5 years.
Oh, you actually played over there?
Yeah, played over there for remuneration.
Yeah.
Saved up a bit of money.
Yeah.
Suffered some injuries to my shoulder and my hand, and then came back and sort of tried it again.
How old were you then when you were doing that?
Mate, I was 21,
yeah.
So right till about the age of 24. Came back and I never really was able to reach the same levels because I had a bad shoulder and a bad hand, and so my focuses then became on finding a career outside of rugby.
And so did you study law before or after rugby?
I in fact studied a science degree, a health science degree. I hope of becoming a physiotherapist.
Oh wow.
And then lost interest in that after I completed that degree. And then came back and did a graduate entry in law at Griffith University.
So when did you start doing that? How old were you then?
Mate, 26.
Yeah. So at 26 you started your law degree?
Started the law degree, So I've been practicing now 20 years, 20 years. But I started as a judge's associate. Then worked for a small amount of time for the Crown prosecuting. And then
post rugby.
Post rugby, I was sort of playing a bit of rugby back here, but not professionally. So
and then so you got that. So you started as a judge's associate.
I was lucky enough to get it's a pretty prestigious position. There's only pretty much 10 positions out of in the whole state. There's 30,000 applicants. My auntie's a magistrate. She managed to put in a good word for me.
It always helps.
Which helps, and I was successful in that application, which stood me in good stead really to get to know the right people, because law really is an area where you need to have a few connections.
So right? So do you think that's the case with any business as well, or?
Look, I think
it opens doors.
It definitely helps. I mean, there's a lot of talented people, and especially at law, you've got to be reasonably intelligent just to get into it. So,
totally.
I mean, most of us who graduate are intelligent enough. It's just who knows who, and that can really get you the foot in the door. And once you get your foot in the door, you can sort of thrive from there.
But just on that topic, mate, I know that because we're both dads as well. You've got a son. And when you send your kids to the schools that we went to, we both went to schools in the GPS system. For all the listeners out there, the GPS system is called Greater Private School, public schools.
Greater public schools,
And what it is about 12, usually all boys sort of schools in Queensland, and they all compete against each other in various sports and activities. And why I'm talking about that is because what we just talked about then in relation to people that you know, do you think, knowing what you know now, us or sending your kids to those schools opens doors, gives them more opportunity? I'm really curious around if you've got a path for your children, you can afford to send them to a school like that because you think that's going to certainly open some doors and create opportunity. Do you think that's the case?
Yeah, look, I always heard that. I remember being at school and we were always it was always drummed into us. The old school Thai thing where you guys are very fortunate because other members or other students, past students, are going to give you jobs. I found that never happened. I found I never came across someone who was willing to offer me a job just because I went to nudging. What I think those schools do is they sort of, not brainwash you, but they give you that real belief that because of the school you're at, you should be confident and that you are above the rest and that you are better than the rest, and therefore that expectation sort of breeds or manifests into confidence, I suppose, in going to jobs. But I don't subscribe to that myself. I certainly believe everyone's born equal. We're just given different opportunities. My family, of course, were fortunate enough, or I was fortunate enough that my family had money to fund me to go to a private school. And as I think I've said to you before, I see persons come into my office charged with various criminal offences who are down and out in their luck, have 2 cents to their name, and I can sense they're either more intelligent than I am, or at least as intelligent, but their parents were drug addicts, or they didn't have the same fortunate upbringing than I have, and I sympathise with them, and that's why I can relate to them, because I don't think I'm above them. I just believe that I was given more opportunities. I mean, I didn't have my first job till I was 19 because my parents used to hand out money to me till I was 19. Whereas I know kids who come in here at 14 who are fending for themselves. So I think going to a private school like that, I mean, it might get you to the various openings of social events, but I don't think necessarily it helps you to get employment. I think you still got to work hard and you still got to take opportunities as they come.
Yeah, I just want to comment on that quickly as well. Like I know, I was going to be open and honest here for 2 seconds. So my ex-wife Ange, so when I quit work in 2016 to be a full-time dad, I started a coaching business, and I thought I could just start calling on my contacts that own law firms and accounting firms and this stuff, and just walk in and just start being this huge, successful mentor and coach.
Yes.
I thought I could just do that. Just walk in, everyone's going to say, yeah, Hugh, no problem, I'll pay you the big bucks, and you just come and walk in here and get the money. And that never happened. There's two things now reflecting back that why that didn't happen, but I just expected that. And as a result of that, I sort of then okay, well, it's not happening for me, I'm going to stop doing it because I'm not getting that immediate gratification and success.
Yeah.
But then what Ange really said to me, it was funny that she said, she goes, I think all guys that come out of those GPS or private schools, they've got that level of confidence, expectation, everything's handed to them like spoon-fed, all that sort of spoon shit, that they just expect all this stuff to flow into their lives because I went to this school, I expect that they've drummed it into me, now I'm just going to be successful, which is not the case. No. You got to work.
Yeah. And I agree. You do, and you got to remember that the people that you're mixing with at school, I mean, again, their parents are doctors, lawyers, politicians, entrepreneurs, property developers. So you're secluded into this area of successful people. So you're expecting that. Yeah. But you don't necessarily respect or expect how much hard work needs to be done
to get there.
And once you get out there, if your parents can't walk you straight into their business or whatever, then it doesn't come. And that's the reality. I think I came out the right end in that I, very soon after finishing school, was reflecting and thought, because remember, I had a lot of friends through football who were tradies or persons who were middle class or lower class. And I looked at them and I thought, geez, I'm not as good as they are. They're not as good as I am. I can't profess to be any better than they are. But they were hard workers. And then that's when I realised, yes, a number of opportunities fall into my lap, which may not fall into theirs. And so I just made the conscious decision to be humble about it and to take those opportunities as they come.
Because you've got to, right?
Well, you have to. Yeah.
Now, mate, talking about that, so as I said before, mate, you are, I think people immediately judge a book by its cover, you know that saying too, and I think when they look at you, mate, they sort of see you as this, and I certainly draw this, I know you, but I know a lot of people go, so like Campbell McCallum, he's that bikie lawyer, or he's that, you know, they cast a dispersion by association, but that's not you at all, right? No. Like, you know, you're this enigmatic, charismatic, articulate, intelligent guy that just happens to represent. But you are that just happens to work in a industry, work in a professional, and you are a criminal lawyer, right? Representing criminals, some who are infamous and some who aren't. But mate, how did you? So you started, and just to come back on that, so we can just develop this story into where you are today, what you've created, but. So you were a judge's associate, you then...
look, and just so people know, I studied very hard at university. I'm not overly intelligent, but I spent many hours studying because I knew that's what I needed to do to get through university. What flowed from that was that I got honours in university, which I never expected. And then I got a good opportunity to become a judge's associate, which is a prestigious position. And then from that, many opportunities fell into my lap. I was offered many jobs at law firms or at the office, Director of Public Prosecutions. I said yes to everything. You know, and then whittled away the rest later.
If you're going to do something, you just go, I'm the man for the job.
I mean, even if I thought I wasn't capable of it, I just said, I'll do it. And then crunch time, if I just wasn't capable, I would just let them know, look, I don't think I'm up for it. But in terms of the perception of me, I mean, I accept that there could be, there is that perception, and I've lived with it all my life. But I mean, I was a big guy because I played rugby. I was a big guy because I got into bodybuilding. So that in and of itself can be intimidating at times. I've always loved tattoos. So before every person on the Gold Coast was getting sleeves and neck, I was getting them 20 years ago. And because I wanted to, and that I wasn't going to be told not to. and they're not biking tattoos, they're not criminal tattoos, they don't say fuck the police, or they're religious tattoos, and they're things that mean something to me.
The scales.
I've got justice scales on my hands, but the perception when if I walk out of the office going to the gym and I've got a tight shirt on, all you can see was muscles with tattoos. Maybe not so much now, but then that perception grew because the members of society who were getting charged with offences could relate to me because of how I looked. And next thing you know, I had this influx
of clientele
that looked like me.
Yeah.
And so it's like I suppose the chicken or the egg thing. I managed to create a good client base.
Yeah.
And one of my shortfalls or flaws, or one may call it something that's positive, is that I fall in love with all my clients, whether they're male or female. Yeah. I listen to their story.
Yeah.
I believe them. I can tell whether they're telling the truth or not. I'm interested in what they say.
Yeah.
And 6 times out of 10, I become socially friendly with them.
Yes.
Whether that's having a beer, a drink, dinner, and they respect me enough to know if there's anything in their world that's going on that I shouldn't be part of, they exclude me.
Yeah.
I've sat in units, as I've told you before many times, and I don't mind saying this live, where I'm having a drink with a mate, who's may or may not be a drug trafficker, and some business is supposed to go down sooner or later, and they just politely said, mate, you better go home.
Yeah.
I don't ask questions, I don't want to know anything about it, I just walk out. And I suppose I could be tarnished with that brush because I'll be seeing some notorious criminals, just having dinner, but I will never feel ashamed of my friends, whether they are criminal or not. So
it's pretty noble in saying that, mate. I think that's really cool because there's certainly a lot of lawyers and professionals out there that would operate differently to you. And I think that's what's created your business, right? Yeah,
and it's funny, and it's a natural way. It's not staged. I don't do it for the purposes of building a practice, but I've had criminal lawyers who, can I say, less successful than I am, who have smaller firms and less clientele, come up to me and go, I saw you out with so-and-so, you better be careful, how could you do that? And I think, well, I'm doing way better than you are for the start, and secondly, that's a friend of mine, and I doubt he will want to be a friend with me if I have to pick and choose where and when we're friends and who sees us, and to me that's not really a friendship. So the Law Society probably wouldn't be overly happy with all of the friends that I have, but I think I'm doing nothing wrong or illegal. I'm just socialising.
And if you know that, and it comes down to, at the end of the day, right, what is it in criminal law? The balance of beyond reasonable doubt.
Yeah, exactly.
But it comes down to the evidence. Like, if the evidence is there, like, it's got nothing to do. You're just representing your client and representing the best way possible.
I've come across all sorts of telephone intercepts in court.
Yeah.
They'll talk to me, there'll be 20 minutes of social talk, then there'll be instructions given.
People are recording you.
Yeah, telephone intercepts on other person's phones.
Right.
I've sat in a restaurant with a person who's accused, and I didn't notice at the time, a person who's been accused, or a person of interest in a number of missing bodies. And there was a big sting operation coming on. Apparently there was 20 people surrounded this restaurant. I'm just having a meal with him. And then, I heard all the evidence later, and then you could just hear on the radio, he's with McCallum, pull back.
Oh, wow.
And had I known that, I might not have been having dinner there, but that's who I choose to.
Yeah,
those people who come into my office always have a very interesting story. And they're normal people, they don't do nothing, they don't do anything wrong with me.
Yeah.
So as I said, I choose my friends, choose them wisely.
Yeah.
Sometimes not wisely, but I don't discriminate whether you're a doctor, lawyer, unemployed, or addicted to meth. If you've got a story, if you are a person who I'm attracted to in terms of a friendship, I'll be a friend.
And mate, and then when you appear in court, I know we spoke about it a little bit last week. I was really curious to know, what are perceptions of the other one, the prosecution, or the other side, the DPP, or what's the the perception with when you talk to the magistrates or the judges, the Supreme Court judges? Like, have they got a certain view when they talk to you in particular? Do they treat you differently because of the way you look or who you represent?
I think early on in my career they did.
Yeah.
I mean, I pushed the boundaries a bit. Like I used to work out at Ipswich, where it's all very conservative. I mean, you have a brown suit and a brown tie, and brown shoes. Whereas I was wearing pink ties and grey suits, and I had big diamond earrings. But that was just me. That's how I used to be in my late 20s. Some magistrates may have viewed that as a sign of disrespect. And then I had a meeting with them and told them, look, this is just me. I wear a tie and a suit. If you'd like me to take my earrings out, I'm happy to do that. In the end, we just reached a consensus, and word spreads. So, 20 years in the game now, they respect what comes out of my mouth. They know that I know my business. They know I know the law. They know what I say is sensible. They trust what I say. I can't help if I'm a little bit larger wearing a suit. But I've certainly have trimmed down, taken the earrings out.
This is the
but yeah, look, I don't get treated differently anymore. I used to, having a few relatives who practice law. I used to give a bit of special attention, but I don't now. And I'm confident in when I approach a court that I know what I'm saying and doing, and a magistrate or judges. They're conscious of that. They know someone who's just babbling shit or someone who's prepared a case. So I'll never go into a court without preparing a case so that they can't criticise it.
Man, from our discussion last week, I found that really interesting. I'm a huge advocate of, preparing very well for whatever you do, whether it's sports, whether it's work. And I know that you go over and beyond what you do in terms of how you prepare or how you represent a client. And compared to a lot of other law firms out there, I know that you do go above and beyond, and you treat your client, and you treat the court with the utmost respect by preparing the documents like you do. Like, what was your train of thought behind that? Like, how did you come to that?
I went back to basic principles. I mean, a person once asked me, what a wank where they're wearing wigs and robes and they're sitting in this big ceremonious building. And I said, well, the rationale behind that, which people must understand, is that it's a place of authority. So the wigs, it's so that the person who's been sentenced, or the lawyers, or anyone who's been, or having judgments bestowed upon them, understand that there's an authority there.
The rule of law, which is there.
That's right. And that's part of the appearance. So if you walk into a courtroom and there's just a couple of blokes in a pair of jeans and t-shirts sitting opposite you, you're not going to give a shit what they say.
No.
So I then went back to basic principles on that and said, well, these people are persons of authority. They command respect, and our system relies upon that respect for persons to follow orders. And so I decided, if I'm going to go into a bail application, most practitioners will go in and just say, here's the reasons why a person should be let out on bail, and here's the orders that you should make. Go ahead and do it. Whereas I thought that they, especially magistrates, deserve the respect of, firstly, here's my written outline so that you understand what I'm saying and I don't miss anything. Here's sworn material of all the assertions I've made so that there's evidence in its proper form. And here's a draft order so that if you wish to make the order that I'm seeking, I've done it for you, and you just have to sign your name. And that's showing them respect that, firstly, you know what you're talking about. Secondly, that you know that you have to support any assertions that you make. And thirdly, you're making their job easier. And the response you get from magistrates or judges who see that you've prepared it, see that you know what you're talking about, and have deliberately made their job easier, you're always going to get a positive result. And it astonishes me that 80% of practitioners don't do that. Laziness, pure laziness. I mean, you take that process of getting that material together might take an hour and a half. And they've got 3 weeks to prepare normally. It might take an hour and a half of that 3 weeks.
They just turn up to court. Pretty much, they just get the brief, turn up to court, and then they present it without real too much.
And they've got a fixed fee maybe from a client. They don't want to do any more work than they have to. That annoys me. but it's not all practitioners.
Yeah. And mate, I think that's really awesome too, mate. And I think a lot of listeners want to hear about are some, like you've got up there, you've got a cutout on the paper, Gold Coast Bulletin, lawyers win as club forced to reinstate drug accused. Like, you've represented some pretty high profile sports people. Like, how do you get those clients?
It's been an accumulation, word of mouth, but mainly I used to play rugby with a very good friend of mine, became a sports agent.
Right.
And he has become a successful sports agent, representing, I would think, 5 or 6 of the top rugby league players in each NRL side. In addition, he represents some NFL players, some surfers.
Yeah.
Many years ago, when we finished playing rugby and he heard that I had become a lawyer, he basically just said, "Oh, look, I've got a couple of boys in trouble." And those are the guys that attract media attention.
Yes.
Next thing you know, I was doing every footballer that was ever put in front of a court,
Yeah.
which put me on the camera 50 or 60 times.
Yeah.
And I just developed this confidence.
Yeah.
I've been able to deal with high profile cases and I don't mind the media scrutiny. I don't think that I'm going to say something wrong or do something wrong. I'm confident in my ability. So I will go through with it and then I'll talk to the cameras after. That breeds more high profile cases.
Yeah.
And then people start to ask, "Oh, who's the guy who represented that person?"
Yeah.
And it's through no individual brilliance. It's a matter of being in the right place, right time, having the right contacts, and then you develop the skills just through your mere contact of all those persons. So I have no doubt I'm more experienced and better equipped than most to do those kind of cases.
Yeah.
Not because I'm any more intelligent, just because I've had more exposure. So, I mean, the Titans thing, I was told, I heard that the Titans players, there were 6 Titans players charged with supplying cocaine, which is one of the biggest sporting scandals in Australian history. All of them came to me. I was told by a number of senior practitioners that I was doing the wrong thing by the clients and that I was going to put myself under too much pressure and that I wasn't up to representing 6 of them.
Yeah.
I had to think about it for about 20 seconds and said, no, I'm capable of it and I promise I'll give them my all. I worked 70, 80 hours a week for 12 months.
Yeah.
And all of them were acquitted. And they all sent me all of their work.
Amazing.
Yeah, so that was another thing. Again, I just said yes.
Yeah.
And then I accepted advice from those more senior to me.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I spoke to my father,
Yeah.
who's an old school lawyer.
Yeah.
And I spoke to someone who I trust and was a mentor of mine, and they convinced me that I was capable of it.
And you did. And look, from just saying yes, backing yourself, having the level of confidence you have, and talking about that level of confidence, how did you get that? You say, mate, you are confident, like charismatic. Like, where did that? Have you always been that way?
Look,
to back yourself in those situations, like fucking hell.
Again, I mean, I think you went to TSS.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if TSS is like Nudgy, but Nudgy, from the age of 12, you are told that you're going to win and that you are more than capable. That's one of the real positive things of those schools is that they nurture that, even if you're not good academically, they nurture that by virtue of where you are.
Yeah.
You should be confident, and that you do have those skills.
Winners mentality.
I carried that into rugby, and then I found that in rugby I was good.
Yeah.
And kept getting better, and the confidence grew on that. And then in law, I was just getting results. And after, I mean, if I won a pissing in the street result, I'd get all excited. That would arouse me. And then next thing you know, I'm doing an assault charge. Yeah. And then I'd win that, and then I'd be onto rapes and murders and all those ugly things. So I developed the confidence over saying yes to every person who walked in. I mean, I had hundreds of clients at one stage walk through my door, and every person I said yes, whether they could pay or not. They wanted me to look after their case. I just said yes.
And you still do say yes to?
Yes.
Yeah, you do. I
do. I do have a girl who's screening a little bit, but I find it very difficult to say no to anyone. I mean, I'll say yes, and I will charge what I'm worth to persons who have the capacity. But if a single mother walks in with no money at all,
Yeah.
and I mean, I've had single mothers walk in and they're getting paychecks of $300 a fortnight, and they've got about $25 spare a fortnight, and they offer that to me each fortnight. And how can you say no to something like that? So, and I think it's important that you give back to the community, because you can make money. There's enough money to go around. And so there's no point squeezing money out of people who don't have it. But so that's another challenge I face, is trying to keep my hours down. But I mean, I'm fortunate. I have a simple household and just one child who I get to see, weekly. So,
and talking about that, that's probably a good segue into it, like parenting. So your son is how old?
He's 16 years of age,
and he works here part time.
Yep, he goes to All Saints, and he is in grade 11. He is on a what do they call them? Traineeship.
Yeah.
So it's a new I suppose part of the curriculum that students can do a law or business traineeship just at school training. Yeah, so he studies at school. He does 4 days of school and 1 full day here.
Yeah, wow.
Where he's paid by us.
Yeah.
And just an introduction to the office and work. And so he works here. So when he leaves school, he'll be an experienced office person.
Yeah.
And he works a few days at the fish and chip shop just to keep him honest. But he's 16. He's 6'4", just been on a recent rugby tour to South Africa with All Saints, so he's doing really well.
Yeah, and how do you go balancing that work life with
It's been difficult. I've always been a busy person with work. His mother is exceptional.
Yeah.
She sort of has been the primary caregiver since he was born.
Yeah.
She's brought him up very well. I'm more, I suppose, I missed a lot of those years where I could bond as a disciplinarian and as a nurturer.
Do you think that affected anything at all? His
No, not him. He has the best of. He had a lot of love at home with his mum. Me, maybe.
You regret it?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think back to times when, where I would sing once a month, and sometimes I would see my own selfishness.
Yes.
Whether I was too busy going out.
Gotcha.
Nightclubbing, or would rather go to the gym than go and see him.
Yes.
Which has always been a regret, but we love each other to death now.
Yeah.
But we have more of a solid friendship. He stays once a week.
Yeah.
At my place. Still calls me dad. Still sleeps in my bed when he wants to watch Netflix.
Awesome. Yeah.
Still has his hand out for money, but we have a really good relationship in that he 100% trusts me.
Yeah.
He'll come to me. His mum will say no to something. He'll then come to me. And if I say no, he'll know there's a reason behind it.
Yeah.
Whereas with her, he just says a no's a no because she's trying to annoy him. But I mean, different to the experience you would have had. The closeness is sometimes a little bit awkward.
Yes.
But
That's what I'm trying to foster with my girls, mate. Like I've got girls. Obviously everyone knows that, but I was the same position as you. I think I had a little bit of foresight that I didn't want to miss this early stages of their growth, because it's created a bond that we have now with girls, mate. Like I know how we were growing up. Like I'm going to do everything within my power as a father to give them the tools to handle people like you and I.
Absolutely.
People
like you aren't angels. Yeah. We know what's out there.
And you represent one of these.
That's right.
I said as a joke, and walk out of the office this afternoon, and I was just like, oh dear.
Yeah, and I think I'm happy that you have that attitude, because I often look at photos. I mean, I've got right there of him.
Yeah.
I remember that day, and I wish I had seen him like that every day. Whereas I only really saw him like that, once every week or once every couple of weeks. And I crave to see him as a 3-year-old, 4-year-old again.
Any more kids on the horizon for you, mate?
Look, none that I'm aware of at the moment that are out there, but look, I'm 44. Personally, I would welcome one. The right situation, no, it does not concern me.
Yeah.
I've always been a person. I'm one of 5 children. I've always had a big family. It would never have disappointed me if I had had 5 children.
Yeah.
Someone.
Yeah. That's crazy.
So, yeah, I know.
That's really cool. You're never too young. I always look at it, I just turned 40 and I feel like I'm 30.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you feel the same way?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I'm still fit, still going to the gym, still, you know, my kids, when they stay at my place, my kid friends, you know, they come out and I'm sort of coming out of my jocks sort of with the tattoos on and half asleep, and they're all going, oh wow, look at your dad. And they say, what are you up to? I'm saying, oh, I'm just going to go to the beach. And their dads are more the old traditional ones with the glasses and the slacks and the suits and the middle-aged spread.
Never going to be like that, mate.
No, mate.
Neither.
There's never need to.
Do you watch Californication? Do you ever watch Hank Moody?
I didn't see the movie.
No, Hank Moody.
Oh, Hank Moody. Oh, yeah. The guy who's the X-Files.
Yeah.
Yeah, brilliant.
Yeah, so I always picture myself, my lifestyle, ending like him, and like you too, mate. So, like, how do you balance all this? So, what's your day look like from when you wake up in the morning to when you go to bed at night? I think that's really interesting.
Yeah, it's I mean, as you say, I find myself as a little bit of an enigma.
Yeah.
I like to be, despite my public persona and despite, I suppose, having a social event every now and then, I prefer to be on my own a lot.
Yeah.
I like to wake up in the morning without too much fuss, get ready. I have breakfast at the desk, just so I can not be too hungry going to court. I'll see clients in the morning, I'll read over my briefs, what needs to be done that day. Then I'll be in court all day, and then I'll go to the gym. I mean, my day ends probably about 8 o'clock.
Right.
And
So
by that time, I'm emotionally and physically pretty exhausted.
So it ends with the gym, not starts with the gym, ends with the gym,
I'd love to start with the gym, but I just cannot get up in the morning.
Yeah. So it's the reverse, and then you go to the gym most days after work?
Yeah, I'm normally about 6 o'clock.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty tired by then.
Yeah.
But I suppose that just finishes off or exhausts it.
Yeah.
The energy, and then I basically will walk in the door, clean my teeth, have a 10-second shower, and be straight in bed either reading a book, reading a brief, or watching a movie. So, I mean, there is some perception out there that I, you know, work till about 2 o'clock, go to lunch at Mooney with my brothers, and then meet the strippers at Hollywood afterwards. I can certainly...
You don't do that?
I can certainly say that doesn't happen.
Yeah. For certain people it does. Like, people would think that would be your lifestyle, but it's
well, I get told that.
It's the opposite.
I've had girlfriends countless amount of times insist that that's what I'm doing. I might be stuck at the office till 7 o'clock at night, and I might have a scotch at the desk, and I'll come home and I'll say, you smell of piss and women, and you've been at Hollywood, and how could you be in the office for 7 an hour, you know, till 7 o'clock at night, and all. That's normally the end of the relationship.
Because you burn the candle at both ends, don't you? Like, you do. Like, one of the hardest working lawyers, there's a lot of hard working ones, but you actually work hard because what's involved in representing a client, I don't think people really understand. Like, for a commercial matter or a personal injury litigation matter, which I used to specialise in, you haven't got someone's life hanging in the balance. You have literally got someone's life in your palm of your hand. They either go to jail or they don't go to jail. Like, you know, and the work you have to put in, the evidence you have to read, like the amount of stuff you have to do.
It's a real emotional roller coaster. I mean, as you say, it's someone's liberty. I suppose what I do is I give the client the right expectations
Up front.
I exhaust every avenue so that at the end of it, no matter what the outcome is, I'm comfortable I've done everything I can, and I'm comfortable that I was the best person for the job, and I ordinarily know fairly well in advance what the outcome's going to be, and I will tell the client straight between the eyes.
Up front. No bullshitting,
No, you just can't do that. You can't tell a person,
emotional. Look,
you're going to go to jail. You're not going to go to jail, because then they get sentenced, they go straight out the side door. They haven't organised their rent, their kids, their girlfriend, their bills. So I tell them as empathetically as I can.
Yeah. And
you know, if you can convey that sympathy and empathy in a genuine way, but that is the harsh reality. It hurts me. Unfortunately, I physically take a lot of that on.
Right.
So I can have persons in tears, and I don't care what they've done or what they're going through. When someone's leaving their family or someone's having their liberty taken, I take a little bit of that on each time myself, which manifests itself. I don't feel stress.
That's
but
what
as I've said to you
yeah.
before,
Yeah.
you know, I get a few skin rashes, or my blood pressure goes up, or I have sleepless nights.
Well,
And
how do you de-stress then from stuff like that? Like, because just for the listeners out there, so representing a client with their livelihood in the palm of your hand, right, is a pretty big deal. Like, let's be honest. Like, compared to like a real estate deal or some other deal, it's just not the same.
I agree.
Like, how do you? Like, I just want to know, how do you cope with that shit?
The first few years,
Internalize it, or
the first few years is difficult, and after about 10 years, you have this switch to being desensitized to it.
like a surgeon would be doing open heart surgery or something,
I
right?
get desensitized to it. I mean, I can have someone come in here sometimes and just say, look, I've been charged with molesting a 5-year-old child. Here are some of the horrific things that they've done. And I will just look at it from a purely legal standpoint.
Wow.
And people might say, how do you do that?
Yeah.
That's the system we live in. I have to represent any person that comes in here. I'm obliged to represent them unless there's a conflict. And there's always a role for a defence lawyer. I don't sit here going, geez, how am I going to get this pedophile off? I will assess the evidence, and if it looks like it's a frivolous complaint, or if it looks like the police have done a terrible job on their investigation, or if it looks like the evidence doesn't stack up, I will say, I believe we should go to trial. Here are the reasons why, and here are your prospects. If I read it and there's a complaint from a child about what happened, clearly a sexualised account of it, he may have made admissions on a tap telephone call. I'll just go, mate, you are going to jail. I will facilitate your plea of guilty. I can't get you off, and if you want me to get you off, you're going to have to go somewhere else. So it's not as if, so I don't have those moral dilemmas that...
So you want to reach across the desk and punch her?
Yeah, no, of course not.
Yeah.
And, you know, they're there to help. I mean, it's just like,
Wow.
you know, like guys like Lionel Patia,
Yeah.
who was a client of mine and who was sent to murder his girlfriend. I mean, she went into jail, she went into hospital with critical injuries. He also, at the same time, stabbed himself a number of times, and he had critical injuries. I mean, do we criticise the doctor for saving his life?
Gotcha.
You know,
that's a good analogy, mate.
You know, he's lying in bed dying, and everyone's going, he just bashed a woman to death, let him die. The doctors are obliged to help save him as like they did. So
it's the same with a lawyer too.
Yeah.
Like they come, you're obliged to help them.
everyone's entitled to a defence.
Yeah, that's really interesting, mate. So coming back to like how do you de-stress from that?
I used to think gym distresses me, but I can get a bit bored with that now. I don't smoke and I don't drink a lot, so it's difficult.
Do you meditate? Do you?
I should. A number of things I should be doing.
Yeah. I can help you out there, mate.
Yes, so I hear. And I'll be happy to talk to you about that after, but look, I think I internalise a lot, and it does come out every now and then. It'll come out physically, as I say, through my blood pressure or through facial masks, rashes. Sometimes I'll be snappy or I'll take it out on a loved one, but it's difficult. But once you pass it, I'm not desensitized to these things anymore. I still now feel the disgust in hearing about child molesters or violence. I don't like violence, and hearing how people can jump on other person's heads and things like that. It does still make me feel a bit ill, but I've got a role to play, and I'm confident that it's a positive role in that, to keep the system honest.
Yeah, of course. So, mate, I think, you said you need to de-stress routine.
Yes, and like I said, and I'm not pissing in your pocket, I do read your stuff, it makes a lot of sense. I think, I think things like what you say are very important, because
work-life balance, right?
Yeah, it is. Even like you say, you get up for 10 minutes and walk down the street.
Walk your dog.
Yeah, healthy eating, having this and that. Those things help. It's hard. Well, it's not hard. Lawyers have always historically made excuses not to do those things.
Yeah, of course.
But one thing I don't do, which I'm proud of, is that I don't turn to the pub.
Yeah, you can't.
A lot of lawyers just go, look, I've had a bad day and I have 4 skins. I mean, I think that's just a cop out.
And they all do it. They have a long lunch on a Friday, they have the fucking steaks, have the beers, go home.
It's a depressant. I can't see how
Depressing.
drinking is a solution. Drinking to have a good time, absolutely.
Yeah.
drinking to take your mind off things. Maybe I'm wrong, but I
Downward spiral, mate. It
I don't
is.
agree with that.
Yeah. And mate, what's in the future for you? Like, where to from here to grow this?
Yeah, well, very exciting actually, because I have, as I said, I've got my sister working for me now, my dad, my nephew, my son. The family law department, hoping to expand. So I want to have 3 or 4 family lawyers working here. Open an office in Brisbane, Cairns, Townsville, and Rockhampton. That'll be the next that's our 5-year plan. And I'm just excited to see the name grow. I'd love to see any person who needs help have somewhere to go to where they know they're going to get some good representation without any judgment. And I think that's the most important thing. A person who's charged with a criminal offence is eventually going to be judged by the judge, and if you're religious, you're going to be judged by God. I'm a lawyer. I'm not here to judge you. I'm here to assist you with assessing the evidence and getting you the right result. To me, that's what it's all about.
And mate, we're going to wrap up here in a minute. How do you define success, mate, for you?
Success is your reputation and your standing in the community, and whether people come to you and the things they say to you. I don't judge success by any means in terms of money. I mean, one only has to be the President of the United States, who earns $400,000. To me, he's far more successful than someone who's importing paper clips and earning $20 million a year. If you're a lawyer and you have a good reputation and people want to see you because they know you're the right person to see, and you're able to help people, I think that's how I measure my success anyway, in that, I help a lot of people, I get recognition for it, the remuneration comes as a bonus.
It does, doesn't it? I think that for anyone that lives coming from a place of service, serving people, first and foremost, living in a place of service, helping people, the money flows. Rather than looking for money, then serve, it's the other way around, isn't it?
Yeah, and that's exactly right. And I thought, we were a firm who were started out at the bottom, myself and Andrew Maloney. We then worked our way up to the top, I think, now on the Gold Coast in terms of criminal law. And Andrew Maloney, of course, the founding partner with myself, a good friend of mine, was made a magistrate. And they recognised the good work he was doing in here, in these offices, to elevate him to a position where he's now a judge. So, I mean, I'm part of that success in my view. And funnily enough, just to wrap it up, he had a ceremony in Brisbane where there was all the Supreme Court judges, all the District Court judges, anyone you can think of important in the law, and he gave us, each of the magistrates who were appointed had to give a speech. And he was so protective of me, or so aware of the perception that people had of me. And in front of all of them, he staked his whole reputation. He said the most misunderstood person in this room is my ex-partner, Campbell McCallum, which almost brought a tear to my eye that he was prepared to say that in front of Court of Appeal judges.
Wow.
And so that's how I judge success.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I don't know as much as some litigation lawyers who charge you an arm and a leg just to walk in the door, but I think that's very important.
Last thing I want to ask you, for any people sort of listening to this podcast about belief, how would you define belief just in themselves, wanting to achieve a goal? How do you just define that?
I think belief is something. It's a difficult term because anyone can say you just believe in yourself. But if you've already, if you're internalising in your own self, and if you don't believe in yourself, the mere word "go and believe in yourself" isn't going to help. My view is you have to develop belief, and that is by, if someone asks you to do something, or if someone gives you an opportunity, take it, and you'll be surprised how many times you succeed in taking that. Succeed in that opportunity, and if you can keep succeeding and keep doing the things that you didn't believe you could do, just by taking opportunities, suddenly you believe in yourself. I don't think anyone can tell you to believe in yourself.
No, I agree.
I think it breeds itself.
Yeah, through consistent action.
Absolutely.
Consistently doing something, even in the nose, even in adversity, even if you can't do it, consistently push yourself through.
And it's funny, and I'm not sure if it's just me, but people say, oh, you'll get knocked down, you get back up again, you know, you'll face adversity. I haven't had that much adversity or been knocked down. I've said yes to anything that comes across my desk, and 90% of it has come to fruition. So don't be scared that you know, you're going to have to be knocked down 20 times before something happens. I think just keep pushing. Keep pushing, yeah.
Mate, thank you so much for your time.
No worries, thank you for having me, Hugh.
Unbelievable, mate.
Love seeing you, my brother.
You too, buddy.
Hey?
Really appreciate it. It's
No
been
worries.
awesome.